Good afternoon and welcome to Ag Talking Raw, where I talk raw about agriculture and other things that are on my mind. You're probably pretty shocked about the title of this video. Don't be shocked, because what I'm about to tell you will ease the shock and awe that you have just been experiencing. So, let's impeach the president already. Let's shit or get off the pot. Let's do it. You know why? We got an election to overturn that said impeachment. The current president is going to be the next president. I'm sorry to say, if you are a Democrat and you don't believe that, then you are absolutely, certifiably delusional. Elizabeth Warren has just, you got it, ladies and gentlemen, Elizabeth Warren has just taken over the top spot for the Democratic Party's nominee. It's probably going to be Elizabeth Warren. I haven't said anything about Elizabeth Warren, but I agree. I've always felt that Trump will be up against Elizabeth Warren, and there's a simple reason I believe that. Because she's Pocahontas. She's had more publicity than anybody else out there. So, anyways, let's say we just let Nancy have her fun, let her do the impeachment, waste a bunch of taxpayers' money doing all this stuff. Her and Jerry Nadler can go ahead and, froth at the bit and do whatever the hell it is they gotta do to get this impeachment done. It isn't going to fly in the Senate. And I'm gonna drop that bell. You watch. There it goes. Of course, you're not gonna see it because guess what? Anyway, so Jerry Nadler, Nancy Pelosi, you're gonna get your impeachment. You're gonna do it. It's gonna be shifty shift running the whole thing. It's gonna be your half-ass, no proof of any collusion, any corruption, any of this stuff that is just going to be, it's just going to be the death of the Democrat Party. I can't call it the Democratic Party because there's nothing democratic about that shit show you call a party. The Democrat Party is done. Anybody that is a Democrat, if you feel that your candidate is not a socialist, I mean, just a flat-out socialist. The Socialist Party, I don't know why don't they just start the Socialist Party up again? I mean, it was a thing back in the 40s. It was a total thing back in the 40s. So we had socialists and communists in the United States. They tried to take it over then, and now they're trying again. So, like I said, let's just get the president impeached so we can re-elect him in like 13 months. You know, that's what's going to happen. I really find it absolutely asinine that they would even bother. In 13 months, we're going to have an election. Let the American people decide at the ballot box. I mean, it's going to take how many months to get his ass impeached? You know, and once they impeach him, it's going to go to the Senate, and Lindsey Graham has already said there's no effing way we're not going to remove him from office. It's not going to happen. You can just stop right now. It's silly, so stop it. But, you know, those people are just fucked up. Yes, I use the F word. They're fucked up. There ain't nothing normal about these morons. So, I'm sorry if you're part of the Democrat Party right now. I'm really sorry for that, because if you are, you've got to admit, excuse me, I'm going to plug these back in. You've got to admit that the Democrat Party is not the Democrat Party anymore. It is a shadow of its former self. The Democrat Party was the workers' party back in the day. That's what it was, and now the Republican Party has taken over that role. And what do we have? We got shit. You know, I mean, if you're any self-respecting Democrat, you will definitely not be voting for a socialist. That goes against everything that party used to stand for. I mean, you know, John F. Kennedy was a Democrat. John F. Kennedy was probably more conservative as a Democrat of the well, he was killed in 62, of that era, a more conservative Democrat of that era than any Republican today, because there was no social services back then. You either made it or you didn't, you know. So when these Democrats say, well, we had the greatest president of all time, John F. Kennedy was not great until he was killed. Sorry about your luck. It sucks that he was killed, because that started the gun grab of that party, and you know, yeah, that sort of shit. But anyways, I'm here in sunny Virginia, doing my sunny Virginia thing. Yeah, in Texas. 63 was 63. Yeah, what was he? Was he elected? When was he elected? He was elected in 1960. Was he elected? He was only president for a short time. I didn't think he was president for very long. It was 1960. It had to be. He ran against Richard Nixon. I know that. I know a little bit of my history, which is probably more than most of the young group of people, or even the older group of people that watch these videos. Oh yeah. Oh, and for the people that, you dirty bastard, the people that were saying, hey, why are you running across the, what the hell is wrong with that thing? Oh, it's full of shit, that's why. The anti-PC, oh yeah, I am anti-politically correct. You know, Democrat Party has ruined itself. I'm going to do something. Stay tuned. So, yeah, I had to take a piss. Oh, wrong damn button. Sorry about that, but I had to take a piss. And you know what? When you gotta take a piss, you gotta take a piss. No! Okay. Let's get to agriculture here. That's pretty funny, Mr. Farmall Fanatic. Mr. Farmall Fanatic. Yeah, it's actually a pretty clean field to begin with. This is just pissing me off, literally. I just dropped the bale. Okay, so let's talk about this stack wagon. Alright, so the stack wagon is meant for hay and straw. And hay and straw is pretty interesting. Well, it's meant for big bales, let's put it that way. Meant for big bales. Big bales aren't a problem, right? The soil that I'm in is like freaking beach sand. What a pain in my ass. So what happens is, when you're picking this bale up, it starts to push the sand. And that's not a good thing, because it will push the sand into the next bale, creating a spot of dirt about that big, which will then in turn tilt the bale backwards. And then when it starts to push, what does it do? It falls over, because it's already cocked and throws it off balance. I can't get it to stair step. Half the time I can't get it to stair step. For a simple reason, it just doesn't want to. The reason it doesn't want to is because it just doesn't want to. Alright, so watch this shit. There it goes. You're not being able to see anything that I'm doing, obviously. Okay. Hit that freaking thing. Alright. So anyway, yeah. Anyways, let's just realize that Donald Trump is going to win this election. He will be the president again, because if we have to deal with, say, Elizabeth Warren, just kiss your country goodbye. Bernie Sanders was bad, but in my honest opinion, I think Bernie Sanders and Elizabeth Warren are pretty much one and the same. The only difference is what's between their legs. Can't say what's between their ears is any different than one another, because they both have that socialist agenda. That is true. The House is not impeaching the Democrats are. The Democrats are going after Donald Trump for personal reasons. Definitely personal reasons, and the personal reason is they absolutely hate the Trumpster. Why do they hate the Trumpster so bad? Because he's not a politician. He was not part of the club. I said this years ago when he got elected. Donald Trump is not part of the political club. He's not going to fall in line. Now, I watch a lot of political stuff anymore. I never used to, but I made the decision to get red-pilled and just be the person that knows a lot about what's going on in our political theater, because only ignorant people get on here and tell me that I don't know what I'm talking about. I mean, there's nothing wrong with telling me I don't know what I'm talking about, because there are some things that I don't know what I'm talking about. I don't feel that the transcript that Donald had released incriminated him in any way. When I go to the negotiating table to, say, sell hay, I prefer to have the upper hand. Just so you know, I prefer to have the upper hand. And I also, oh, you little bastard. Now, why the hell? My sliders decided to not work. Right, there it goes. I prefer to have the upper hand, and if that means withholding some information to get the best price, that's what I'm going to do. I have no problem with what Donald did in regards to I have no qualms with in regards to what he did with the Ukraine. You got a new presidency there. The Ukraine government is new. New president there, very corrupt. We've had Joe Biden go to the Ukraine 13 times. He took his son, Hunter Biden, to the Ukraine on Air Force Two. Why would he do that? Especially when he supposedly has no ties to the Ukraine. Like, no idea as to what his son's business dealings are in the Ukraine, which we all know is a load of bullshit. And that is a load of bullshit. There's no way that Joe, crazy, creepy Uncle Joe, did not know what his son was doing. He took him there. He took his drug-abusing, worthless son to the Ukraine on Air Force Two, which is basically Air Force One. Is basically Air Force One. You dirty motherfucker. Is Air Force One for the vice president. Your tax dollars paid for Hunter Biden to become a multi-millionaire on our backs. People that work hard, like you and I. And here's one that'll bake your noodle. So I got a lot of time in this tractor, and I'm thinking about this stuff. I'm like, why is it so wrong for our president to send Rudy Giuliani over to investigate what went on in the Ukraine when on the 2016 election? What is so terribly wrong about that? Is it terrible that he sent him there because Joe Biden is a candidate? Or is it terrible that he sent him there because nobody in the federal government, you know, our federal government, the ones that are supposed to do the checks and the balances to keep us safe from foreign and domestic terrorists and corruption. We are a nation of laws, and corruption is like the worst thing that can happen to a nation of laws. So nobody in the FBI or the CIA or any of this would do anything because they were on the take from Obama's salami. It was their CIA. It was their FBI. It was Joe Biden's men. And even the Ukraine... Oh, you fucker! This thing is just pissing me the hell off. Well, let's say we do this. Let me do this. Manual load. Up here like so. And then we hit the power slide and we hit the confirm and we put you back and we put you in auto and we should have nothing. Why would we have nothing? Because it doesn't want to function. This thing has a computer, right? Let me reset the computer. How much longer do you have bailing cords bells? I'll be here for quite a while. I will be here for quite a while. So if you want to ask me questions like that, that's fine. I'm growing a beard, by the way. It's just a hassle to shave. So I've decided that I'm going to grow my beard and call it easier. Teresa is not the beard-loving type. Did that fall off? I'm getting a little pissy. I'm not going to believe what just fucking happened. I got to do all that over again. Okay. I'm pretty good with this thing. 57 Fitter, how you doing? I was doing better about 5 minutes ago. I'm starting to get frustrated. I'm talking on this thing. But yeah. Anyway, yeah, so, alright, so back onto the subject of the Trumpster. Alright, so Donald Trump sends Rudy Giuliani to Ukraine to investigate collusion into the 2016 election on the Democrats' part, because they've been crying and crying, Russia, Russia, Russia. You know, it's like a bad episode of the Brady Bunch. Russia, Russia, Russia. You know, it's all we hear. And then finally, Rudy gets under affidavit, penalty of law. You know, these guys testify on an affidavit, a sworn affidavit, that, oh yeah, we've been trying to get this to your country for months, years, literally years. So, and then Joe Biden decides, hey, you know what, I'm going to run for president. But Rudy Giuliani, back freaking months and months ago, has already got this information. So the information's out there that there's corruption, that there's scumbags afoot. Okay, so we got scumbags afoot, we got corruption going on, like rampant, by a sitting vice president, and all this stuff comes out, and all this stuff comes out, and all of a sudden it's Trump investigating a political opponent, which the facts are that he's not investigating a political opponent. He's investigating a corrupt former vice president of the United States who just so happens to now be running for president. The investigation was done before he said, hey, I'm going to run for president. Now, in my honest opinion, I think that Obama told Joe, don't run, you don't need to do this, and that's a fact. He did tell him not to do that, because he said it. Joe, you don't need to do this, because I think Obama knew the shadiness that was going on down in Ukraine. And he knew, because Obama, for all his faults, is not a stupid man. He's far from stupid. You don't get to the position of the United States president by being stupid. And, oh, come on, okay, you want to play games? Let's play games. So anyway, so Obama is not stupid. He is not at all stupid. And he's told Joe, don't run, you don't need to do this. Not because Joe doesn't need to do this, but because Joe he knows that Joe's crooked. You know? And here's another thing. Here I am, I'm 47 years old, right? And I've been probably pretty politically, not connected, and I'm not saying I'm politically connected, but politically aware for a while as an adult. So I'm watching this thing, and I'm thinking to myself, you know, Joe Biden has been in the political theater longer than I have been alive. And I'm like, so here's a guy who's been in the political theater for longer than I've been alive, and he's claiming he's going to do all this stuff for the country, and that all this political crap that is going on is, you know, he can fix it. Well, the fact of the matter is, he isn't going to fix anything. He's part of the problem. Joe Biden has created more of the problems in the United States in the last 50 years of his tenure in the Senate, and God knows whatever else he did, you know, wherever else he was. He's created the problems. Do you honestly, anybody that's out there going to vote, do they honestly think that either Bernie Sanders, Joe Biden, or Elizabeth Warren have any intentions of furthering the American people, the American worker, any farther than they were for 3.5 years ago, or 2.5 years ago? They don't. They have no desire to do any of that shit. You know what they have a desire to do? They have a desire to line their pockets. I'm going to let you in on a little secret that it's not really a secret. It's just the dirty little cover-ups of money. So you hear Kamala Harris or Kamala Harris or whatever the fuck her name is. Okay, you